everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Famous and Fearless channel. Something's always felt just a little off. You know that strange pit in your stomach feeling when all the signs are there, but no one says the obvious out loud? Well, Meghan Markle's pregnancy has been giving people that exact feeling for years. And now, the whispers are no longer whispers. What started as online gossip has now spiraled into something far more serious. Insiders allegedly close to the situation are speaking out. And the claims? They're not vague. They're specific, detailed, damaging. This isn't just about Meghan Markle anymore. This could unravel the entire public image of the Sussexes permanently. But what do you think? If a public figure stages a pregnancy for the sake of optics or media contracts, is that still their personal business? Or is it a betrayal of public trust? Let us know in the comments. Because this story is bigger than it seems, and the questions it raises, they're uncomfortable. Let's get into it. From the very beginning, Meghan Markle's pregnancy was framed as a triumph, a deeply personal, emotional, and empowering journey. We saw the baby bump cradling at nearly every public appearance, the serene black and white photos from the pregnancy shoot, the carefully lit interviews where she described the joy of impending motherhood, and for many, it felt like a fairy tale. The American actress turned Duchess, embracing her first child with a rebellious prince. But then, the questions started. Online forums began highlighting moments where the bump seemed to shift shape or even fold. Video clips surfaced showing Meghan squatting and standing up, with ease, in ways that seemed physically impossible in late pregnancy. Skeptics were dismissed. Let her be, they said. You just hate her. But the footage kept piling up. The bump would be prominent in the morning and noticeably smaller by the afternoon. Clothing wrinkled in ways that made it seem like the bump was detachable. Was it just lightning, bad camera angles, or something more carefully staged? Until recently, all of this could still be dismissed as wild speculation. But then came the alleged leak. Reports emerged, quiet at first, then louder, that someone allegedly close to the surrogate, possibly the surrogate herself, had started to speak out. The claim? That Meghan didn't carry the child, that the pregnancy, from the bump to the belly holding to the photo ops, was all orchestrated, a production, and not just for family or friends or even the monarchy, but for Netflix, for press, for image. And suddenly, the context shifted. Because while surrogacy is completely valid and celebrated by many, deception, that's something else entirely. Especially when your entire brand is based on authenticity. You might be wondering, so what? Celebrities use surrogates all the time. Why would Meghan hide it? That's where the stakes explode. Because Meghan and Harry weren't just any celebrity couple. They were positioning themselves as a symbol of modern royalty, of healing, of breaking barriers. They left the royal family to protect their privacy, remember? But then, they signed media deals, released documentaries, gave Oprah a front row seat to their pain. They invited the world in. And that means the image they sold us, Meghan cradling her bump while talking about racial bias in the palace, that image matters. If it wasn't real, it's not just a little white lie. It's emotional manipulation. People cried watching that Oprah interview. They believed in her pain. So now they're feeling betrayed. Behind closed doors, palace sources are reportedly livid because even though Meghan and Harry aren't working royals anymore, their actions still reflect on the crown. This controversy doesn't just damage the Sussex brand. It puts a dent in the already fragile credibility of the monarchy. Remember, this institution relies on tradition, trust, and appearance. If it turns out the royal family turned a blind eye, or worse, helped cover it up, the consequences could ripple across generations. Insiders say the palace is in full damage control. Some advisors are calling this a code red scenario. Why? Because once the public starts to believe they were lied to, the whole system starts to unravel. Here's where things get really strange. Meghan and Harry, usually quick to respond to rumors, lawsuits, headlines, have gone completely silent. No interviews, no statements, not even a cryptic Instagram post. It's the silence that's setting off alarm bells. Because when someone known for controlling their narrative suddenly disappears, it usually means something's brewing behind the scenes. Lawyers, public relations advisors, crisis teams. If there's nothing to hide, why not address the claims head-on? Why not clarify the timeline? Why not release medical documentation? Instead, nothing. And in this digital age, silence doesn't protect you. it damns you. Let's be real. Meghan is no amateur. She came from Hollywood. She understands image. She understands media. And when she entered the royal family, she brought that Hollywood know-how with her. The Sussex brand wasn't built on tradition. It was built on optics. And it worked. For a while, they were the modern couple, speaking their truth, raising chickens, sipping lattes in California. But now, people are starting to peel back the layers. Did they craft a media-ready version of their lives? Sure, that's what celebrities do. But did they fabricate something as intimate as a pregnancy? That's different. That crosses a line. Because it's not just performance anymore, it's deception. The Oprah interview, the Spotify deal, the Netflix docuseries, the children's book, the mental health speeches, all of it now looks suspicious. Not because those causes aren't important, but because they were packaged alongside a narrative that might be false. And once trust is gone, nothing else hits the same. People are revisiting old footage. Quotes that once felt inspiring now feel hollow. "I just wanted to be heard," Meghan said. But now, people are asking, was it all scripted? Because if one cornerstone of their story, the pregnancy, was staged, what else was? Let's talk about surrogacy for a moment. There's nothing wrong with using a surrogate, but hiding it, and then pretending it didn't happen while building a media empire around it, that's where it gets murky. Motherhood is deeply personal, but when you make it public, when you sell it to Netflix, build it into your brand, it stops being just yours. Millions of women identified with Meghan's pregnancy story. They saw strength, vulnerability, and hope. And now, if that story was fake, those same women feel cheated. Because motherhood isn't a PR move. It's real, it's raw, and it's not something you fake for clout. If Meghan didn't carry the child, then who helped maintain the illusion? Because she wouldn't have pulled it off alone. That means stylists, press teams, Netflix producers, and possibly even palace aides would have had to cooperate. We're not talking about a private medical decision. We're talking about a public relations campaign that potentially enlisted dozens of people to maintain a fiction. Some reports claim even Doria Ragland, Meghan's mother, may have known. Was she protecting her daughter or complicit in a media scheme? If that web begins to unravel, if someone breaks their NDA, leaks an email, or confirms behind-the-scenes staging, the entire Sussex empire will come crashing down. And there's a very real chance that someone will crack. Because secrets this big don't stay buried forever. One of the darkest questions in all this. Did Netflix know? Their docuseries Harry and Meghan included never-before-seen footage of Meghan pregnant, or supposedly pregnant. Was the streaming giant fed a false story? Or were they in on it? Because if Netflix executives knew, then we're not just talking about celebrity spin, we're talking about potential fraud. Viewers streamed that series believing it was real, believing they were witnessing the private, vulnerable moments of a young royal couple building a family. But if the pregnancy was fake and Netflix knew, that's a whole new scandal. And you better believe attorneys would be interested. There's another emotional layer here, one that few people talk about. Throughout Meghan's pregnancy, she repeatedly invoked the memory of Princess Diana. She wore jewelry that once belonged to her, recreated the iconic white maternity photos, even quoted Diana in speeches about motherhood. It felt symbolic, powerful, a bridge between generations. But now, it feels manipulative because Diana's pain was real. Her pregnancy, her struggles, her trauma, all of it unfolded in the merciless glare of the paparazzi. If Meghan borrowed Diana's imagery to create a fiction, the emotional betrayal deepens. It's not just about the bump, it's about the legacy. What about Harry? He said he left the royal family to protect his wife, to protect his children, to avoid the pain his mother suffered. But if he helped fabricate the pregnancy or knowingly let the world believe it was real when it wasn't, is he still the protective prince? Or has he become something else? Some say he's a victim, others believe he's fully in on the branding machine. Either way, his silence is devastating. Because if this was done without his full knowledge, it makes him look like a fool. And if he knew and went along with it, it makes him look like a fraud. The Sussexes had fans. Diehard, passionate, loyal fans. But now, even they're starting to doubt. Social media is flooded with clips from old interviews. The bump folded here. Look at this angle. This photo was allegedly taken the day after she was 7 months pregnant. Look at her shoes. It's relentless. TikTok detectives are dissecting every frame. Reddit is organizing timelines. Even mainstream outlets are beginning to cover the bump conspiracy. And as more people pile on, the tide is shifting. This isn't just about royal drama anymore. It's about trust. And once you lose the trust of your supporters, you can't get it back. Behind closed doors, Hollywood is reportedly spooked. Studios that once lined up to work with Meghan and Harry are allegedly reevaluating future collaborations. Because in Hollywood, nothing is worse than being seen as inauthentic. People will forgive you for almost anything: addiction, infidelity, even crime. But lying about something as human and universal as pregnancy, that's a line too far. And if this scandal grows, expect to see those lucrative deals disappear, not with a bang, but with a quiet phone call that never comes. Let's go there. Let's say everything the alleged source said is true. That there was a surrogate, that Meghan staged the pregnancy, that Harry knew, that the palace said nothing, that Netflix filmed it all. Then we're not talking about scandal. We're talking about deception on a royal scale. The story of Meghan and Harry, the couple who broke free, who told their truth, who wanted to raise their kids in peace, that story collapses. And in its place, a chilling example of how far people will go to control a narrative. Because if the pregnancy wasn't real, how much else isn't? But what if it's not true? What if there was no surrogate? What if the bump really was just fabric folds, lighting, weird angles? Then Meghan and Harry are victims of one of the cruelest, most invasive smear campaigns in modern media history. If the rumors are false and they're being ripped apart for the shape of a baby bump, that's a tragedy. But here's the problem. The Sussexes have created an environment where people don't know what to believe. They control their image so tightly, respond so rarely, and speak so selectively that when questions arise, they fester. Transparency could have saved them, but they chose silence. And in the age of social media, silence is dangerous. All it takes is one text, one email, one disgruntled staffer, one verified statement from someone who saw the fake belly, who helped put it on, who transported it from one shoot to the next. That's all it would take to turn speculation into confirmation. And once that happens, it won't matter how well the Sussex brand was built. The public won't forgive. Because trust, once broken, doesn't rebuild. It burns. This story doesn't have to end in ruin. There's one path forward. And it's not more silence. It's not another Netflix show. It's not another crying documentary. It's the truth. If there was a surrogate, say so. People can handle that. We live in an age where families are built in all kinds of ways. What people can't handle is being lied to. If it was real, prove it. Release a timeline. Release medical information. Be transparent. If it was staged, admit why. Talk about the pressure. Talk about the deals. Talk about the fear. Because here's the truth. People don't expect perfection. They expect honesty. In the court of public opinion, silence is guilt. And right now, Meghan and Harry are saying nothing. The longer they wait, the more the narrative slips from their control. Whatever the truth is, real pregnancy or carefully staged illusion, the world is watching. And if they don't speak soon, someone else will. And when that happens, it's not just their brand that will fall. It's their entire legacy.